185. The Mystery Religions. Chalcedon Position Paper number 181, October 1994. In the 20th century, more than a few scholars began to see links between the mystery religions of Greece and Rome and Christianity. There were parallels that drew their attention. Washing preceded initiation and membership in some of the mystery religions. Of course, ritual washings were common to the law as given by Moses, Leviticus chapters 14 to 15, Numbers chapter 19, and Ezekiel chapter 36 verse 25 refers to sprinkling as a sign of a renewed covenant. The rule of secrecy concerning initiation prevailed among the mystery religions. However, the early church, as an illegal body, had a reason for secrecy. The mystery religions offered hope of immortality for man's spirit and a blessed life with the gods. Their belief was in a natural immortality, however, whereas the Bible sees God alone as immortal, 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 16, and man being given resurrection from death. A familiar icon in mystery religions was of Isis nursing Horus. This was assumed to be the source of depictions of the Virgin Mary nursing the infant Jesus. To assume this is to believe that all pictures of nursing mothers echo the Isis-Horus faith, which is nonsense. Some of the mysteries had forms of a communion service, but not only was their nature very different, they were rites of union with the divine, not communion. The difference is a very radical one. Other seeming resemblances can be cited, but this is enough. If such things are taken seriously, then we would have to say also that anyone with two eyes, one nose and one mouth resembles Hitler or Mussolini, as the case may be. Those who have sought to establish parallels on such superficial bases have been wrong. Moreover, the real resemblances are not between the New Testament and early church with the mystery religions, but between the 20th century churches and the mysteries. The early church was deeply involved in the care of the needy, Acts chapter 6, etc., courts of arbitration, 1 Corinthians chapter 6, and a host of other activities, not merely as a help to members, but as kingdom functions under Christ the King. 1 Timothy chapter 6 verse 15. Rome fought this claim by Christians. The mystery religions were subservient. The focus of the mysteries was spiritual religion, life after death, and a spiritual life in the here and now. They were unconcerned with almost all practical problems because they sought to transcend the world with their spirituality. It is at this point that 20th century churches resemble the mystery cults. A telephone call this morning reported on a new foundation which calls itself Christian. It opposes Christian concern with anything other than soul-saving. Health, education, and welfare supposedly belong to the state, despite the fact that from the biblical era to the present, they have been the responsibility of God's people. This group condemns any interest in politics as unspiritual. It opposes God's law as belonging to a more fleshly era and unfit for Christians. It wants to replace Christian works and action with retreats into spiritual exercises. Any concern by Christians for mundane things like education and medical missions is seen as a materialistic concern and unhealthy for the spiritual man. The calling of the Christian is to refine this inner life and to be a soul winner. Such people are annoyed if James chapter 2 verses 15 to 17 and like texts are cited. If a brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you say unto them, Depart in peace, be ye warmed and filled, notwithstanding ye give them not those things which are needful to the body, what doth it profit? Even so faith, if it hath not works, is dead, being alone, or by itself. Like the mystery religions, too many churches limit faith to words of assent, not to action, not to works which are inseparable from true faith. The mystery religions retreated from the world. To conquer for Christ is the Christian calling. The mysteries offered myths and rituals. The early church offered history and the king of history. The mystery cults offered an intense experience, whereas the church presented God's revelation. The experiential stress of many churches links them to the mysteries more than Christ. The adherents of the mystery religions sought a powerful experience when confronted by the death of a loved one, whereas Christians relied on the revealed Word of God. The mysteries were more interested in heaven and hell as they viewed them, whereas Christians who were faithful were devoted to serving the Lord with all their heart, mind, and being. Plutarch tells us that few people believed the myths of the mysteries literally. Christians stood on the literal Word of God. People in the mystery cults hoped for special experiences and revelations, but these were of a mindless sort, whereas the Christians relied on the plain, unchanging Word of God. The Attis cult required of the most faithful self-emasculation. Biblical faith stressed the whole man, not the castrati, as God's servants. The mysteries had no fixed moral code. They could be indifferent to abortion and homosexuality because spiritual matters concerned them. Recently, one major church rejected a measure to register with the president an objection to homosexuality, etc., on the grounds that its tax exemption might be endangered. This is the spirit of the ancient mystery cults. Because the mysteries had no fixed, revealed moral code, they had no enduring contribution to make to history. An antinomian church is no different, except that it is more offensive to Christ our King